should be qualifying out of this cup. I mean, I'd be very surprised if they weren't in the top 2 today. So I'm expecting to see great things from them. We have Redacted. We just saw them a bit earlier. It's Adela, Swole, Tigra, and Joru. They're going to be playing some type of cleave composition, either DK Warrior or Warrior Enhance. And I think from Splyce, we'll probably be seeing that FLS. Once their main cooldown is down, they struggle, but we're going to see jungle here. Probably going to be CC on Adela, but who's going to be their target? Do you think they're going to go for Adela?
They might go on Adela. They do certainly have that opportunity available to them. We might see them go on Noob Stomper as well. We'll have to see where it ends up going here. Of course, immediately out of the gate, both teams just sort of waiting once again. We've seen this from most series today, just sort of giving the other team the option to slip up. Wallabear not even really doing much moving around out in the open. You'd kind of expect him to be getting a little bit closer, but he doesn't even want to risk just a random, I don't know, anything, Death and Decay, Blade Storm, even if Noob Stomper's even running it, which I'm not sure. Oh, he actually is running Blade Storm, yeah. So doesn't really want to risk anything. Neither one of these teams really willing to move in yet.
Yeah, usually at the start, I mean, both teams hide behind the pillar because if you run into the enemy team behind their pillar and your healer's not there with you, you're in trouble. And if you run there with your healer, you're vulnerable as you're crossing the map. It's not like when you get there, it's you know, it's all fun and games. It's like while you're crossing the map, they're going to stop you and then start the fight. So usually both teams chill at the start, wait. It's really on Wallabear to start this game for anyone, because the stealth classes dictate the start of the match. Whenever he decides to rake whoever his target is, then we're going to see the start of the game.
Yeah, Tyga actually moving out there for just a second, just sort of scaring Wallabear a little bit. Wallabear like hiding along the ledges, just trying to stay out of line of sight. But now here we go. Tyga walks in and just immediately death grips Jelly Beans and puts him into that strangulate. No real follow-up damage onto him just yet. So Wallabear is going to go ahead and take that as an opportunity to move around and start putting some pressure into Adela. Adela does get that leg sweep out to stun up Wallabear, and now Wallabear is taking a bit of damage here. The shockwave comes out. Absurge caught into that paralysis, not able to get any heals out at the moment. The full fear now coming from Noob Stomper as well, which is going to stop Absurge from being able to do any of that follow-up healing. But surprisingly, Wallabear has not had to use any of his survival instincts yet. Absurge now in a lot of trouble, down to about half health. He's caught into that strangulate. He could just go down right here, down super low. The follow-up stun comes out, but Absurge is able to get out that Spirit Link. He used his trinket as well there to make sure he could get that Spirit Link out. So that's actually a really good opener from Redacted, being able to force out that trinket link so early.
Yeah, great double stun combination there, but Adela's in big trouble here. Wallabear's on the chase and he has Incarnation up. If he doesn't have bubble available action, he's getting stunned right now. He's gonna have to use his Nimble Brew and try to get out of there, but he's getting chased down by the Feral. Ferals have a lot of mobility just to match Adela's mobility. So if he can't get away from Wallabear for too long, he's gonna be in trouble. And I don't think he has his port here, and he has no cooldown, so he could just go right down.
Oh
and
yeah,
he does.
There he goes. Yeah, that was Splyce recognizing, okay, we've survived through this. We need to put the pressure on. We can even see after Adela goes down, Abster just went ahead and dropped his second Spirit Link there right at the end, just to make sure that Redacted couldn't come around and get a follow-up kill on them. Splyce just saying, all right.
Available. I think that's a big problem for them. Even in the last match they didn't have a Holy Paladin to combat with the double cleave. So I think it's really on Adela this game to try to survive best he can. It's going to be a lot easier with that port on top.
Yep, so right immediately he's going to move up here and get that portal down so that he can be able to teleport back up there if needed. Wallabear moving in around behind, looking like he's just going to go super aggressive right off the start. Gets the Rake stun out and follows that up with the bash onto Adela, just pumping damage into him right now. Adela's going to go ahead and use his Aura Mastery to try and make sure he can get some guaranteed healing out. He actually got knocked away, which may end up working out for him more than it actually hurt him in that situation. He's going to go ahead and just keep kiting around at this point in time, taking tons of pressure right now, but hasn't had to use too much in the way of major cooldowns. He did use his Revival, which is a big AoE heal, but now he's just going to go ahead and portal out of there while still taking so much pressure, even with no one attacking him right now. Just the crows coming out from Jelly Beans is enough to actually force the Life Cocoon as soon as they're able to reconnect, but they're turning it back around onto Wallabear. Wallabear dipped super low there for just a second. Looks like he's going to stabilize, but if they can make hard swaps like that, that may actually be what it takes to knock Splyce off their pedestal right now.
Yeah, and I think the problem there was that was all their damage cooldowns on the Wallabear, and that's where that spike came from. But they didn't really have any CC on the Absurge. He gets in a Fear right here, but I mean, it's really onto Adela here to try to keep Noob Stomper up. He's having trouble because he has to heal Noob Stomper, and then sometimes Noob Stomper's in CC or Taiga's in CC, and has to stop that. It's really, he has too much he has to do, and he just gets bashed. Noob Stomper's really low, sitting at 20%, and he gets a full Hex on Taiga too. They're just under fire the entire time. The pressure from the crowd control as well as the damage is just so high. There's a swap on the Absurge here. Is he going to take some damage here? We need them to get a link at least out of him. He's been very adamant about keeping all of his cooldowns throughout the tournaments in the past, and he's going to, again, walk away without using anything.
Yeah, Absurge, he tends to play a little bit greedy with his Spirit Links, but it really pays off for him in situations like that, where he's like, yeah, 30% health, I'm fine. He's got his Earth Shield active on him, and that's really the primary form of healing going out right now. Still, no Spirit Links coming out for him. With this Fist of Fury, that's finally going to force a Spirit Link, as well as his Ascendance out. No Trinket, though, so he does still have his Spirit Link and that Trinket available if he needs it again,
really
but he might just need it right
he might
here.
have to use his second link here. He is sitting at 30%. He has to use it. He's not pressing it, though. Greedy Shaman is absurd. Once again, he actually uses Ore Master to survive this time. He didn't have Ascendance with it. Very scary for him to go for that, but he is able to survive. Some clean play coming from Redacted there. You get the charge stun into full asphyxiate, and if they can keep the pressure up here, I mean, Noob Sniper and Tiger are full health, and there's a shockwave onto Absurge. He has Solar Print. That's going to go off, and he should go down here, and it does.
Yep, just barely not able to come out of that stun in time to get down that Spirit Link. He did still have his Spirit Link available. I actually kind of wonder if he played a little bit too greedy earlier, if he should have just dropped it when he had the option, just to make sure that he still had health, because he wasn't really ever able to top himself off entirely after that push.
Yeah, and I think the peels came in a little too late there. I mean, I saw a trap land onto one of the on a separate stun DR, so you can charge into asphyxiate, and that's what they've been doing to get their kill setups on an Absurge. And that's just a very short stun. Charge is 1 or 2 seconds long, and then comboing that with the other stun into Shockwave is all of a sudden a 7, 8, 9 second CC that normally wouldn't happen.
Yep, so the gates are now about to open here. We're tied 1-1 between Redacted and Splyce. Moving on to Splyce's map choice here of Tiger's Peak. And we'll have to see how Splyce is able to make this. I really feel like Splyce has the advantage going into this one. They've been playing very well. The last map was by far weighted towards Redacted, so we'll see how it goes here. As things are starting to get underway, they get the Strangulate onto Jellybeans there, and then the Charge Stun, not Fist of Fury, onto Wallabear. Wallabear still taking a lot of pressure at the moment, but Adela taking lots of pressure as well, having to move back over here, just kiting away as best he can. He's got the Crows still active onto him, just dealing damage like crazy. His Soothing Mist almost not enough to deal with just the Crows damage, and now Wallabear has managed to reconnect. Yeah,
and he hasn't used his bubble, and that was the Crows, so big save from Adela to not even use those cooldowns. He still has his port too, so he's doing great so far. There's an in-cap onto Absurge with Wallabear sitting at 50%. If they get a stun out of it, and they do, they might actually swap to Absurge too. I would not be surprised to see that. But they're sticking, oh no, they are attacking Absurge, but they're not getting much damage off. There's a half Stormball. It looks like he swapped specs. He's actually not playing the Shockwave, which was working so well for them. He's going for those Stormballs for a shorter cooldown and more consistent stuns than Absurge. Very interesting choice.
Yeah, it definitely is very interesting. And I kind of wonder why they've chosen to do that. Maybe just the range for the off-target stun on it, maybe what they're going for. Either way, Adela is still under lots and lots of pressure right now. They're trying to turn it around onto Wallabear as best as they can, but Adela caught into that full bash. Could be in some trouble here. Down to about 40% health. Going to have to go ahead and use that Life Cocoon. And without that Life Cocoon available, he's also used his Revival. This is just so much pressure for Adela to have to deal with right now. The Crows have come out, and the Life Cocoon is no longer active. Wallabear reconnects. Adela could just go down right here. Nice. He manages to get the paralysis out, and now Absurge may be in a little bit of trouble as well. He's had to go ahead and use his Ascendance and his Trinket to keep himself alive. Redacted doing their best to turn the pressure around and force Wallabear to pull back, but Wallabear is just unrelenting at this point. He's just going ham on Adela, and that's going to be it. Adela is going to go down, and that's going to put Splyce up 2-1 in this series.
Yeah, and Absurge was just ahead in the cooldown war there. That was really what happened at the end. He had his Trinket initially, but on this map, that is interesting because the Hunter can't do that much damage to Noob Sniper and Taiga, but Dota can because he's a Warlock. So he's going to be dotting up Taiga and Noob Sniper, and all of a sudden Adela's port strategy is going to be a lot less effective now.
Yeah,
he's going to port out and be like, Taiga, come back. You're at 20% too. I need to help you. So it's going to be a struggle to actually keep up the entire team here.
Yeah, definitely. We can see, well, you can't see it at the moment, but Adela does actually have his portal already down in that starting room. So I fully expect that that is going to be his strategy. And that Warlock choice, like you're saying, means that when he ports back into the room, he's not out there healing his two teammates who, if they were running the jungle cleave, you'd generally expect to be pretty full on health because they're focusing on Adela the entire time. But with this Warlock in the mix, that means that both Taiga and Noob Stomper will be taking damage constantly. And so it's going to be very tough for Adela to actually deal with. I think Splyce is making some very smart choices choices here. Already starting to put a little bit of damage into Taiga here, just trying to get a little bit of, I guess, harassment damage going at this point in time. Abster's now caught into that stun. Could be in a little bit of trouble here. The Strangulate does follow up with that, but I feel like the damage is just not coming yet from Taiga or Noob Stomper there. And in fact, Abster's is going to be able to use that Demonic Gateway to just pour right out of there, have no trouble at all. And now Dota has popped his Dark Soul, and we do have Incarnation active from Wallabear as well. They're trying to turn this pressure around.
And here's where it starts to become trouble for Adela. He used his port already, and Noob Stomper's taking some damage, so he has to run back out there, and then eventually Wallabear is going to see that and come back to him. He does still have his Incarnation available. If he can get back to Adela in the next couple seconds, he should be able to get that bubble or trinket. And Adela's actually running in on top of them. I don't think that's the correct play here because he has to use his bubble immediately. He still has trinket, and if he has to use trinket on that bash, the game is going to be over real fast for him. He does have to use his trinket because he dispels UA for revival, I believe. Oh. So he's in big trouble. He might have his port very soon, but he's in a lot of trouble. He does get the incap into Wallabear and gets a couple of heals up. That's awesome, but I'm sorry, your team's at 30%, man. What are you going to do about that? He gets feared with dots on him. He's trying to heal Noob Stomper up. His teammates are in, but he can't really heal them too much. He's doing a great job keeping them alive for a bit. Rallying cries up from Noob Stomper, but they're just taking so much damage. The power of FLS really showing here.
Yeah, definitely. In Redacted, they don't really have the option to play defensively at this point either. They have to stay aggressive or else Splyce just wins no matter what anyway. So that's why we're not seeing them pull back right now. Adela somehow, some way, still managing to keep his team alive through all of that ridiculous damage. Noob Stomper just trying to stay aggressive onto Dota. Dota does not have a Dark Soul active and will not have another one for about 40 seconds. So that's maybe a little bit of a saving grace for Adela. But look at his mana. He's got none at all. Now caught into this Cyclone. He has no trinket to break out of this. There's not that much follow-up damage onto Noob Stomper just yet. So Adela is going to be able to get out of that, and that Cyclone actually gained him a whole bunch of mana the entire time he was sitting in there regenning. And now the Life Cocoon, though, has to come out, and it's just getting chewed through right away. He is going to be able to port back into his little safe area there and maybe start getting some mana back. Fortunately for him, Dota actually not able to keep too much spread pressure going on Taiga and Noob Stomper at this particular point in time, so Adela actually has a moment here to catch his breath.
Yeah, is he drinking in the corner here? That is quite the ballsy play. He's sitting at 20% himself. Taiga and Noob Stomper, though, they've shut down the damage of Dota really well. They must have got a couple of interrupts on him to stay high health. They're rotating through their defensives. Now Adela is able to come back in and get Shadow Fury Sun into some damage from Wallabear, so he's not having the funnest game. Dota does have Dark Soul for now, so that's where a lot of this damage is coming from. But Adela, again, porting back, trying to heal up. Noob Stomper sitting at half, so he has to come back out. And if he doesn't get there in time, Noob Stomper's just going to die. So the swap might come back onto Adela in a bit here, and that's what Wallabear is doing. He's going over for the clone. Out of the clone, probably going to try to bash him, but Adela smartly just walking back. They get a shockwave onto the three players of Splyce, so they're doing a good job shutting down the swaps to Adela, which is what they really need to do to come back in this game.
Yeah, and Adela's positioning is really interesting here too. He's staying as far away as he possibly can at all points in time. It's actually kind of terrifying. Every once in a while, like Noob Stomper jumps in like he did just there, and Adela actually has to move up to be able to heal him, and unfortunately that means he got caught into a bash. He's going to have to go ahead and use his Life Cocoon, which again just gets chewed through right away. The paralysis lands onto Wallabear as well as the stun, but now they're turning the damage around onto Taiga. It's just constant pressure coming out. Dota has once again managed to get a full row of deaths on all three members of Redacted. So Adela, there's just not much he can do at this point. He's doing his best to keep everybody alive. He's actually using his Chi Torpedo to move in and out, and even the healing on just himself from that is kind of all that's really keeping him going at this point. Taiga, though, down to 2%, and that's going to be that. Just too much constant damage coming out from Splyce for Adela to be able to deal with.
And that's kind of what I expected from FLS. I mean, that looked like a much more convincing game than the last few games we saw. It's just the pressure was too much for Adela to keep up with. The damage onto Taiga and Noob Stomper